Artist from the planet. This one straight to a boy neck. You better pray say it no connect. Left wire shake and afraid. Are you P45 if you connect? Fire red them dead. Me God.
I'm your host Elle, and this is the hottest station on the planet, FIRERED. I'd like to take this time to welcome GT to FIRERED Station and thank you for accepting our interview.
Gosh, it's a pleasure. It's more than a pleasure to accept the interview because I saw you in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a lot of time.
No,
so
we didn't.
The whole idea that we're doing this now is
to get
a blessing
that we couldn't get on that short time.
Yeah.
Please tell the FIRERED family a little bit about GT and how you became to be a producer.
Gosh, how I came to be a producer? Well, it was by default really. I think the best way of saying this was you know that you've got artists like I had Pato Banton and Tipper Irie that I was a manager of.
Yeah.
And when they went to the studio at times, I would be there.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would be with them, working with them, and they'd be saying, "What do you think, G?"
Yeah.
And I'd be going, "Boy, that could be a bit different. You could have dropped it a little bit like this." And you know, you just add in a bit of advice because you're the manager and you're the one that sees them from a different angle, a different basis. You know them, they know you.
Yeah.
So with the producer, there's that air of the red light. You know, you got the red light going on, and they're on spotlight.
Yeah.
And that can do things to people.
Yeah.
So when they come out of the studio now and they're not actually delivering, they're now calm. They can deliver.
Yeah.
So when I look at that,
Yeah.
I used to say, okay, how can I get this person now to be calm and to be ready to deliver at their best? Because that's what you're really doing. You're trying to get somebody to deliver at their best, you know, top notch. So that was what I worked on, and I did all sorts of psychology, you know, courses. I did, you know, talk therapy, therapies, and I learned, as well as having my own skills, you know, I learned how to work with people around those areas, and those helped a lot. And plus I was, you know, before I could even really think about what I was doing photography, I was a DJ, so I knew what would keep people on the floor, and I knew what people were looking for when they wanted to be entertained. So it was
covered the whole music industry really, haven't you?
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Yeah, a bit like that. I wouldn't say the whole.
So from DJ to manager to producer.
Yeah.
What's the in-between?
The in-between was feeding my family, the economics of life and living. You know, the music business is one thing, but the music business sometimes doesn't pay bills. I think people forget that. You know, in this day and age, an artist doesn't make much money unless they hit the numbers. You know, you've got to be hitting streaming numbers, you've got to be hitting downloads, or downloads don't mean much anymore. CDs don't mean much anymore. Vinyl doesn't mean much anymore. It does for some people, but in terms of where the money is and how an artist becomes able to support their life and their lifestyle and feed their family, unless you're hitting at least, I'd say, 100,000 streams, you're not making any money.
Definitely. Could you tell the FIRERED family when you started DJing? DJing, when you started your whole career.
Wow. I started DJing with, well, I wasn't a DJ, so I would say I started DJing from when I was about 17, 18. I built my own rig you know, boxes,
Yeah.
double turntable. When double turntables was a no-no for most people.
Yeah.
You do double turntable. One turntable and you put that on this something, man.
Take a top off and put it next one.
Yeah. And I said, no man, we gotta segue this thing, man. Because I was watching other people, I was saying, yeah man, segue it so you don't have to do much talking.
Yeah.
And then I worked out that even when you don't do much talking, you have to talk, because you've got to be directing the people to what you want them to do and how you want them to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's those things that is all about the entertainment world and making this thing happen, or not. Because if you don't make it happen, you're not going to get gigs. People are not going to book you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
So I made that transition from being a DJ.
So what made you move from being a DJ to being a manager?
Oh wow, gosh.
I want your progression.
Pato Banton and Peter Spence. I was DJing at a local centre. We had about 250 people in there, rammed to the rafters. And I was doing well, you know, I was playing some bad tunes, I was hyping up the crowd and stuff. And I just wanted to have something different. And I said, Pato, come round. This was when Pato wasn't really, he hadn't done no tunes yet.
Yeah.
Yeah? So Pato came on and he chatted his thing, da 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 dee dee da 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 da. Yeah, mash up the crowd.
Yeah.
And then Peter Spence, his friends, said, Peter can sing, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, so rough night to put somebody to try something, but go on man, you're from the ends, man. So he said, go on then, man. And I did.
Yeah.
So I put him in there,
Yeah.
and Peter sang something on the Johnny Clark rhythm, the Roots Natty rhythm, Roots Natty, Congo. And Peter Spence just went for it, man. The crowd teared up. So I went to Peter's dad's house, and I said to Peter's dad, I want to manage your son.
Yeah.
You think they can do good? You think they can do good? I don't feel so, you know. But if you feel so, then go on, try something. So that was his actual words.
Yeah.
So Peter and I used to meet in my car, and Peter used to go over to me his ideas for songs, and I would say, yeah, that's one, that'll work. And then I took Peter, the first 2 tunes that I ever produced on my own with Patrick Donegan and Derek Frivia was Frivolous Woman by Peter Spence and Don't Leave Me Lonely, which I licensed to Greensleeves Records because I wanted Peter to have a better opportunity in the music business at the time, because on my label it would have been alright, would have been a good start, but not if Greensleeves had put it out. So Greensleeves put it out on UK Bubblers, and then Peter was open to the audience that he now enjoys.
Okay. So that's how you got to be a manager.
That's how I got to become a manager, because then Pato, how I got to be the manager again, there was something that came before that. Smiley Culture. I used to hang out with Smiley Culture, and Smiley Culture said, Grantley, why you do this? And I would talk to him about ideas and business and stuff like that. And I was with Smiley for a weekend, and Smiley had a show at the Lyceum in London, David Rodigan's show. All the big DJs were there, and who's who in the reggae industry was there. And I went in with Smiley, and they said, Smiley, you want to come on now? So I said, no, come on. So they said, we need somebody to come on. So they asked Pato to come back on, because Pato had gone on already, right? And he said, well, what am I going to do? I said, do that new one that I've heard, man, that new tune, man. He said, what tune? He couldn't imagine what tune it was. So I said, hello Tosh.
Yeah.
That one. He said, that's a foolish tune. How can I go on there and chat this big dance like this? Hello Tosh. I said, boy, that tune's a bad tune, man. Yeah. I think that lyric is a bad lyric.
Yeah.
He said, and what rhythm? I said, go on the Blood Fire Posse rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah? Blood Fire. He said, all right then. I said, if I'm the only person jumping up and down when you deliver that lyric, right? I'll embarrass myself so that you do it, so that you don't embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
He said, all right then. He went on. He said, tell Rodigan to put on Blood Fire Posse, Get Flat, the B-side. I said to Rodigan, put on Blood Fire Posse. Rodigan introduced him to come back on. The minute he dropped the rhythm, yeah, and Pato came out at the same time, walking, dancing, yeah, the kind of robot style walk. And then he's chatted. I said, hello, chat. Tosh, got a touchy, That place just ripped apart. I mean, 3,000 people broke down the place. It's a Saturday, right? The 3,000 people broke up the place.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nobody wanted to go on after him. Right?
Yeah.
Trust me, man. Yeah? So obviously you got the big guns. You got Maxi, you got Smiley.
Yeah.
They're not going to be bothered by that because they know what they're doing on that stage, right? So after that, everybody's asking for this tune. This tune right now ain't recorded yet. It's just an idea. Come back to Birmingham after staying in London for the whole weekend and being hit up by almost every radio DJ, right?
Tune.
Where's the tune?
Yeah.
Want you to do an interview. So anyway, what happened? Come back to Birmingham. On the way to Birmingham, I said, have you got somebody to manage you? And he went, no, man. And I said, well, I'll manage you. And he went, what? And I said, yeah, man, I'll manage you. I can do this. And he went, he laughed because me and Pato was just like mates. Yeah. So, and he never knew me as anything to do with that side of the music industry.
Yeah.
But all them times I was studying. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I ended up being Pato's manager. 2 weeks after that, I ended up being Tipper's manager. And Peter came along after that.
Yeah.
So we was all over the world for years, to cut a long story short.
How did your family feel about your career choices?
My dad felt that I was an idiot. He thought, my son is an intelligent individual. What on earth is he doing this for? Why this? He could do anything. I said, yeah, man, Dad, I can do anything, but I want to do this. He said, you're not going to make any money at doing this, running around behind fools. That's what he actually said.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Didn't hold back his talk.
No way. Well, anybody that really knows or knew my dad, because he's not alive now, 8 years. But man, that man did not mess around. He did not. And he was very proud of me, and I only knew that a week before he died.
I'm glad you found out before though.
Oh yeah, too right.
Yeah.
It's, cathartic, revolutionary, just put it all in perspective.
Yeah.
So for me, and he's the only man that I've ever feared.
Oh.
Ever. I fear God, but he's the only man that I feared. I would go up against anybody.
Yeah.
But that man there, I ain't going up against him.
Who or what inspired you?
He did. My dad taught me to fear nobody.
Yeah.
He taught me that from I can feel pain, another man's gonna feel pain. So give him some of what he's gonna give you.
Amen.
And give it him in your way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't think about his way. Think about your way.
Yeah.
Don't think about what he wants to do. Think about what you wants to do.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are things that he used to tell me.
Yeah. Why is music important to you?
Music's important to me because it's how I live, it's my hobby, it's my favorite thing that I do. Anybody that knows me, like you heard me, we was driving up here and I had the radio on, but if I didn't have the radio on, it would have been music. You saw me come in here, the first thing I put on is music. Yeah, and we've only got a limited amount of time. So for me, when I look at that, and if you walk into my bedroom, there's music. If you walk into the studio, there's music.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, on my phone, there's music.
Empty without it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'll always have something to do with music.
Yeah.
Always.
Do you believe in the Most High? And if so, how does he affect your work?
That's a really good question. Gosh, I've never been asked that question before. But it is a really good question. I do believe in the Most High or higher power. How he affects me is that I do what either is right or I do what I think is right.
Yeah.
So what do I think I should do in a situation?
To be just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not frightened of not being liked.
Yeah.
So if you don't like me, okay, that might have its place within me, but it's not going to affect where I go or what I do.
Yeah.
Because I know the Most High walked that, and any great individual has not been liked for great periods of their time.
Definitely.
And it's their legacy that follows them rather than what they're saying at the time.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I don't have a problem sleeping. You know, anybody that knows me will tell you, boy, GT will sleep anywhere. He'll sleep in a loud dance hall. So for me, I just say to myself, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I know is right, and if you don't think that it's right for you, that doesn't mean it's not right for me or it's not right.
Yeah.
Because I can give plenty of evidence for why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I can justify it.
Your work has taken you around the world. What countries have you been to, and what has been most memorable?
Have we got time for how many countries I've been to?
You don't have to go through all of them.
Okay, let me go through the continents then. I've been to the African continent, you know, Botswana, Johannesburg, Kenya, Ghana, Gambia, yeah, Zimbabwe. I've been to all those. Of all of Europe, I would imagine Spain, Germany, France, yeah.
Recently in Barbados.
Definitely Barbados, because Barbados is the country that I've visited more than any other place.
Yeah.
I've definitely visited Jamaica at least 5 times.
Yeah.
And I've got some real heartical friends in Jamaica and in Barbados. Other Caribbean islands, you name them, I've been to them. Japan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
God. Hong Kong. Dubai. Thailand.
Well, all right. Let me ask you a question. Where haven't you been?
Yeah, I've been to Australia, by the way. Forgot that one. Australia, Cairns, you know, Melbourne, Sydney. I've been to those. Where haven't I been that I would like to go to? Gotta think about that one. Where haven't you been, Grantley? That's a good question. I'll come back to you on that one.
No problem. Yeah. Would you mind sharing the current struggles you may face in the music industry?
The current struggles I feel are sometimes with communicating with artists. The current struggle, I don't have problems communicating with the business world of music because they understand. I think artists have an ideology about what the music business is and how they fit into it, but I don't think they totally understand the music as a business. Because they don't understand that for the business of music, most people would say that rather than being an artist, they're a product.
Definitely.
So if you want to make a product, it takes research and development, it takes product development, it takes marketing to the audience that you want to sell your product to, and so on and so on and so on. And I'll say this, I didn't realize it was that deep until I started to sit in front of, you know, people like Jay Boberg, Miles Copeland, people from Island Records, people from Virgin Records, the big conglomerates. When they say, what's the story? And you start as if you're going to talk about the artist. They don't want to know about the artist. What they want to know about is what is the product that I'm going to put my money behind. Or, look at it another way, I am going to invest my money and I want a return bigger than I get if I was to put that money into the bank. Right? So if somebody's going to put £100 into the bank, like you or I, we want to see at least 2 or 3% on it. But if you're putting that money behind an artist, you want to see about 20% on it, because you know it's likely not to come back. Why? Because there are a gazillion other artists out there that want the same thing and that are willing to work harder, are willing to become more visible, are willing to put more effort behind what they're doing, more meaning behind what they're doing. They're more sincere, and so on and so on and so on, and their image is crafted to a T. So if somebody wants to be an artist, that's what you got to do, and it works backwards. People love artists because it's a great thing. But I don't think a lot of artists realize that that privileged position doesn't come as a result of a hit song. That privilege to get that hit song and to keep getting hit songs, you have to have done all of that backlog of work before you get there. Which is why Tipperary can continue doing stuff, General Levy can continue doing stuff, Maxi Priest can continue, if we're talking about the reggae industry, you know, Steel Pulse, UB40, whatever you want to do, look at their history, look at their catalogue, look at what they have done, not what they say they've done, but what they've done. You know, if you talk about Sandra Cross, Kofi comes from, you know, Black Pride, the group. They work hard.
They did.
They did.
They're working.
Which puts my next question in perfect place. If you could give advice to an aspiring artist, what would it be?
An aspiring artist, if you want to be in the music industry, think about another industry if you don't want to work. Because there's easier ways to make money and become popular.
Yeah, definitely.
But I look at it like this, it's like school. Who was the popular kids at school? Yeah? How did they get to become popular? How did they become influencers at school so that you wanted to be like them? Or you wanted to fit into who they were, right? And become with great position comes great responsibility. So to carry that burden of being the best, you have to keep working at it once you get there. Because if you don't, some clown is going to come and take you off your perch.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Remember what happened to Humpty Dumpty?
Sorry.
You know, I look at it simplest way to say something sometimes. Never ever believe the hype. Believe what you've done, what you're doing. Don't believe what somebody says. Because they might just have woke up in the morning, I'll say something nice to GT today. What GT believes in. No, when you sit in front of the employer, they ask you questions and they say, what did you tell me about your career? You know what I mean? And you got to tell them about what you've done. You know, look at the Apprentice, they'll tell you. And they're cross-questioning you. Those things are not going away. Because now your employees can look at you and they can say, do you know what? We actually know that that's not true what you said. And remember, you can get sacked if you tell a lie in an interview or on your application form.
It's true. It's true.
It's going to happen with music.
What genres and artists do you listen to?
Genres? Well, you said something to me earlier. What inspires me? What inspired me back in the day was producers like Hugh Padgham, like Ultravox, Midua, people that crafted a sound. You know, Mad Professor inspired me in the way he spoke, the way he used to be so easygoing, but you could tell that he was that he'd already pre-planned this thing. He's already got his settings on the board before the artist even comes in. They're there. So this is pre-preparation. This ain't that I've got to keep reinventing the wheel. The wheel's there. Same thing with Patrick Donegan. Same thing with Peter Honningale. You know, Peter Honningale's beats. And it's swinging. Although there's a one drop, it's still swinging. You know, that tune that I got Lucy Tennyson to redo, you got the best of me. Peter Honningale wrote it, Maxi Priest sings it. Team hasn't worked out that you can have different people contributing to the same product. Diversify.
Definitely.
You know, and then the production of Sly and Robbie, and then you've got this whole idea that's moving consistently, and you've got Maxi finding his way through that beat. He's crafted it out. How has he crafted it out? Because he's got that vocal tone that lends itself to that beat. So he's got a clarity.
Yeah.
Somebody else might sing it and they can't, you know, the rhythm's clashing and this is clashing, but he can maneuver.
Yeah.
That's the ability that an artist or singer has got when they're delivering on a composition.
Yeah.
And the producer is the master of all that, putting that cake together and making sure that the sound quality is the best that it can be.
What have you got currently in the pipeline?
I'd say a guy that I started working with years ago, Jucky Ranks, and it's a tune called Best Life.
Yeah.
And what I did is I worked with this DJ called Mikey Biggs, who I also worked with some time ago. I used to run a shop with him, and he used to be the owner of the shop, and then we took it over, but we kept him on, and he's been a great influence and a great individual. What happened was I said to Mikey, you know, my partner Keith Brown and I said, we got to look at diversify a bit and use some different artists for the beats that we've got, because the artists that we have, they're not lending themselves to the beats that we've got, so we might need to get these voiced by somebody else and give them, you know, a different idea about doing the same thing. So I gave the beat to Mikey. Mikey chose the beat and he said, I think this is the beat that I'd like to work with. And he gave it to Jucky Ranks. Now, he never knew that I knew Jucky Ranks from when Jucky Ranks was 14, 15, yeah? And I did a song called Got It, Drop It with Jucky Ranks, right? So he told Jucky Ranks about, GT's got this tune, yeah? And he's given me the tune. And Jucky did a demo to it. When I heard the demo, I was in St. Kitts. And I played this demo and I went, damn, Jucky's gone good. He's always been good, but I felt he just fitted. Remember what I said about Maxi Priest finding his way through the beat?
Yeah.
Jucky did the same.
Yeah.
However, I didn't think that the tune had a hook enough. There wasn't a hook there, so we needed some different hooks going on. So the tune that I just played you was him and J Beats, and I added J Beats to it because J Beats has got this tone, yeah, that's really high pitched when he's ready, and it's so melodic that it just adds that little bit of extra panache to what I felt that tune was. That gave us what we wanted with the tune, and then once we got the tune together and we mixed it, I must have mixed that tune about 50 times.
Went to sleep hearing it.
Yeah, I must have mixed it about 50 times, remix. Now it needs something else, now it needs something more. And it's that quality control that I think you need to have sometimes. But people don't know that. What people think is that you just go in there to the studio, 5-10 minutes and it's done. Yes, it can be like that. But more often than not, it takes you quite a long time to get the sound that you hear in your head.
You mentioned J Beats. Can you let the FIRERED family know who J Beats is?
J Beats is a young man that is very talented. I don't even think he knows how talented he is, but he's very talented, and he happens to be my son.
You can tell me what you got coming up?
Right, so there's Best Life, that's the Jucky Ranks and J Beats tune, that's called Best Life. That'll be out on April 16th. I've got another song that's coming, which is a totally different song. I'll play that before we got time. It's a totally different song. That song is called Perfect, and that song, I flew to Hawaii to record that song, right? And I came back to England and added the rest of it. You know, myself and the MYBOYZBEATZ family, James Crosdale, we added bits and bobs to it. And then I added a guy called Joe Marlowe who's 16 or 17 on the guitar to that tune.
Nice.
Yeah? And the tune will send you to sleep or keep you awake in a very positive way. That's what I would say about that song. And then there's a number of songs that are going to be released throughout the year. Currently I'm working with Darshay on her own project. You know, we're working around because I'm working on some of the production for some of those. But other than that, we're looking at new artists. We've got another artist from Barbados called Leah Logan, who we're going to premiere about, I think hers will drop around June, July. I haven't got a release date set for that. And then there's the re-emergence of Lucy Tennyson, a tune called Hustler, who collaborates with Jucky Ranks on that.
Okay.
So that's what's coming up.
I know that you, apart from being in the music industry, you've also lent your hand on things like working with drugs, and can you tell us a bit about that?
A passion of mine. Whilst I was in New York on tour, I saw crack cocaine at its worst. I went into crack houses. I saw the dealing. I saw the outcomes of it in their worst, at their worst. You know, the films that you've seen on crack with women cooking up crack and walking around the crack house, that's all true. That's how it happens. And the dealing with the guns and all of that lot, the cocaine, that happens. But I decided that I'd like to do something about it because it affected me when I got back here. You know, friends of mine were on crack and they were emptying their people's houses. So the things that I've done I've been a youth worker for years. I have been, I've worked in residential care, I've worked in secure accommodation, I've worked in secure escorts and so on. I have also done social care with education, so I've worked in those environments. And I was working as a youth worker, and somebody said there's a job that I think would suit you. And it was for a crack cocaine outreach worker, managing the service. And I thought, when I'm managing the service, oh, that's going to be a tough one. But I went for it anyway, and I got the job. So when I got the job, I was given, you know, some money to set up the service, and part of setting up that service looked at research and development. Now, because I've done my research for my bachelor in philosophy in education and my master's in criminology, I knew that I needed to do some research to support what I was going to do for this organisation, because without that, sooner or later it would come under fire for what I was doing. So bam, I said, right, let me put this together, and I took a study visit to Barbados, New York, and Los Angeles, and me and another colleague of mine went and we researched it. People thought it was a jolly, but we spent every minute of that time researching and getting all the evidence. We came back to Birmingham, we wrote a 40-page report that became a document on the whole trip. When I was in New York, I got the leading practitioner, Dr. Michael O. Smith, to come to the opening of the service that we were going to run. So he flew from New York and opened the service and did the keynote speech for us, and all the BBC, all the newspapers, ITV, they were all there. So we really opened the service, and to cut a long story short, that service became one of the leading services for crack and cocaine in this country.
And you got an award, did you know?
Oh yeah, I got All of them are up there.
Tell us about them.
First of all, I got me and my colleague Phil Granger. We got an accommodation from Gordon Brown for the needs analysis and the drugs needs analysis and action plan for Hodge Hill. Yeah. We also got an award for the midnight bus work that we did with Beresford Dawkins. We also got an award. I got a Shining Light Award from BRAP and Sony for doing the work that I did with crack and cocaine. I spent 8 years at the National Treatment Agency as a non-executive director. For that, I've trained all over the world, and man, I could talk more, but I think that does that for now.
It has been an amazing honour interviewing you, and on behalf of FIRERED family and station, I would like to say thank you.
Lord have mercy, I've really enjoyed this interview.
Me too.
It was well worth it, and I'll do it again anytime.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Alright, and keep doing the work you're doing, because I know that sometimes it doesn't come with the money that you would expect, but sooner or later, cream rises to the top.
I love that. Please feel free to make a shout out to your well wishers.
Well, they're out there. My mother, my sisters, Keith Brown, Major Popular, Jucky Rants, J Beats, and everybody else that I have failed to mention. I think of you as no less, but I really do appreciate the support of all of you, because without the support of you, sometimes I probably feel, you know what, I'm gonna give up and do something else for a while, but I'll always come back to music. To the FIRERED family station,